All right, welcome to another episode of the Never Ready podcast. Today I'm joined again by Blayd Law and Tara Nickole, and instead of doing individual episodes, I brought them on to do a joint episode because they perform jointly, and we'd like to talk about that a little bit, talk about their experiences, how it's been for them, as a performing couple, trying to navigate life together and career together at the same time, while also both working day jobs. So it's quite the experience. So, anything you guys would like to add to that little intro here?
Oh, it can be fun. It can be amusing to say the least. 4 kids on top of all that. You know what I mean? That adds.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'd be tired.
Yeah. We can start with how you guys got started doing that, like how the whole thing came together. I mean, I know, but they don't.
Yeah.
I know the festival, I think, was the first time you guys played together, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Strings and Friends.
I guess it was, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was a festival. It was a bigger event, so that was pretty cool. It was just head first, really. I mean, no choice.
Yeah, we started as a whole band. Well, Blayd he had a whole band, so everybody played under his name, Blayd Law. And that was the first time I joined doing mostly just backup vocals. And then I think there were 2 duets at the time that we did together. And then... What?
The old tambourine. Can't
Oh,
forget about
yeah.
that.
I was like, I have no idea what this is.
Yeah. I did.
Gotcha.
I did bring a tambourine, which I haven't used in a long time. But yeah, that was the first time I hopped up there and sang. So really, I was just kind of supporting a whole band. But then everybody quit and fell off, and it was just 2 of us left. And it really was weird and didn't make sense to have a guy up there with his guitar singing lead and then me just standing up there singing backup intermittently. So it just organically turned into more of a duo.
Yeah,
That
well,
made more sense, yeah.
Quit, got fired, whatever.
Mix of both.
Yeah.
We've gone through a few band members at this point.
Yeah.
Someone
yeah,
just
yeah.
stopped showing up, even.
Some we've had to kick off the stage mid show. Like, it changes, like we've had some bands can be a headache,
The more people you have to bring together, it's harder. And also, it's hard enough to sell yourself on putting time and effort into your own dreams, especially when they're not like super monetary at first. So trying to keep other people around to also stay motivated for somebody else's dream, really, while there isn't money flowing around, is really hard. So
Yeah, we've had a few members of this, even which very much fit the Never Ready bill for what we're here. Like, I'm not going to name any names here, but one of our core members originally, when this was going, it was very clear the whole time he did not believe that this would actually ever become something. He's like, it's a fun hobby, which a lot of people have that mindset of like, you can't make it, it's too hard, or it's impossible. You have to be born into it, have the family, or have that, but it all started somewhere. Someone was the first one in that family to make it. Somebody's got to be the first one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry. Just, there's been a lot. There's been a lot of loss. There's been a lot of gain. I mean, it's been a wild adventure, and I mean, I guess you can't really call them core members if they're not around anymore. You know what I mean? Because without the core, you fall apart. Like,
Oh,
that's
no,
the,
yeah. I just meant from the starting.
Yeah, from the start. Yeah, and honestly, that person you're speaking of was with me for a long, long time. But some folks just it's a hard thing to see. You know what I mean? To picture that future of non-blue collar, like just doing the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no, absolutely. It's been weird. It's been crazy. It's been fun. It's been not fun. It's it's very rounded.
I'd say just again, a very much quite a few of our guys never just, I don't think they'll ever be ready that we've had. But what is it like? Do you guys ever have conversations about it, or do you guys, like, you just both mentally in the same place of, like, we're gonna make it, we're going regardless?
I think that we're just at that point now that we just believe in each other. We believe in ourselves enough that we can believe in each other. You know what I mean? And it's easier that way, I guess. You know what I mean? And shit, I've always had her back since we started this together. You know, since we've melded together and started doing this together. It was easy. I got your back, you got my back, and that's the way it is. So I don't know. It's between us having the conversation is more like talking to people that are not a part of it. You know, something like as simple as this. You know what I mean? Like that's really the only time we have a conversation about, oh, but what if? And we're like, no, well, listen, you know. But I mean, and it's not like we're not still doing, you know, regular crap too. You know, we have to keep the bills paid. You know what I mean? That's just the way that it is for right now. But and it's not like that all year either. You know, like we have times throughout the year where, like the summertime, dude, we don't have to both work full-time jobs. Like I can go out and play on a street corner before I'll work a full-time job in the summertime. But problem is, it's really hard to play a guitar in the snow. Yeah, the fingers don't want to work so well. And I'm not good at saving money. She's good at saving money. But again, we have 4 kids, so there's always, need the savings to be used now because we've have an emergency. Something as simple as, we've used too much electricity this month. You know what I mean? Or we need for 2 months basketball games for the kids. You know what I mean? Like that's an extra $150 a week in gas because we're having to drive to away games and have to do stuff like that. But worth it, 100%. I mean, it's the kids. You know what I mean? They come before a lot of these things. You know what I mean? But thankfully for us, we have wonderful, wonderful, understanding children that they don't mind sacrificing some of their time with us so that we can follow our dreams. And it shows them at the same time. You know, I'm sure we talked about that in the last one, but it shows them that it's completely doable. Even after having 4 kids, it's completely doable. Like, it's not impossible. So, I don't know.
I feel like it's very important to, you know,
relay that message.
Yeah, because kids will do as you do, not as you say. So if you give up on your dreams, they're that much more likely to do that in their life. Absolutely. Rather than to commit to themselves because they've watched you guys do it.
Absolutely.
Even if you never make it to the top, they're going to have watched you guys try and work at it every week, day in and day out. And that's going to make them feel that much more, like, you know, ready to go do that, you know?
The happiest I seen my father whenever I was growing up was, you know, when he was out performing and doing what he wanted to do, rather than, and I love you, Dad. You can say whatever the fuck you want to now, but I know you're full of shit. You know what I mean? I know what you really wanted to do, and that's okay. But I till still today, you know what I mean? Like, he's working himself to the bone because he doesn't believe in himself the way he used to.
A lot of people are like that. A lot of people can't. The idea of balancing or trying to balance the having kids and the having a job and the trying to build a career at the same time can be quite a lot for a lot of people. You know, it's a lot for anybody. It's just a lot, like, honestly. I know you guys, they perform together as a duet group, but you release a mix of both, you know, duetted songs and then also your own individual music. So I'll start with you. Just what would you say your overall goal in this thing is? Like, do you think you and him will be performing together forever? Do you think you'll eventually be a big solo act and he'll be his own solo act, or like, you know, maybe a mix? Maybe, you know, you have a tour by yourself and a tour with him, or like where do you see yourself?
I don't know. I think that we are happy with any direction it really takes off, as long as it just takes off. We've talked about it, about, you know, what if one of us got...
She replaced me as a guitarist, I'd be pissed. I'm just kidding.
What if one of us got, you know, a record deal or signed, or just had a big opportunity, but they only wanted, you know, one, you know, like they only wanted Blayd or they only wanted me. You know, they didn't necessarily want our combined sound. We've talked about it. Like, are we going to be like, no, no way, I'm not going anywhere without my partner kind of thing? Or are we going to be understanding and be like, yeah, you go, you do your thing, and I'm going to keep working on my thing, but you go do your thing. And so we've both mutually agreed, you know, no hard feelings, no whatever. If it's your turn and it comes for you, then go for it, and I'll be there supporting you, and I'll be working on my stuff too. If, you know, I made it big first, and if he wanted to, you know, continue to play guitar and come with me and work on his stuff while he's doing that, hell yeah, cool. So that's kind of where we're at. If we took off together, I don't think either one of us would, you know, be upset about that. It can be a little confusing, I suppose. We perform together, but we just perform under our own names. We don't have a band name. We don't release any music under a band name or anything like that. But hell, if it went that direction and somebody wanted us as a duo, I'm jumping right on that train.
Absolutely.
Sure, why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it also keeps it, in our eyes, it keeps it clear for the individuality, just not having a band name, because, I mean, there's a million of them out there, you know what I mean? And we're not. We are, but we're not. You know, we have our projects, and we're trying to make a living as a couple, and that's what we're doing out there. But yeah, like you said, we do. I mean, we have our individuality. We release our music by ourselves. Hell, there's, you know, I mean, they don't, but you know what I mean? We spend lots of time in there, just me and you. Lots of time in our studio, just in there, meaning the studio. Lots of time in there, just you two. You know what I mean? I think it's important, honestly, because we're not even, especially when we started this. I mean, now we found a common ground. I love somber cowboy music. She loves somber cowboy music, you know, and that's kind of where we meet in the southern rock, not maybe a little you know, we don't have a genre technically, but we can still have our individual sounds. But there's that magic of whatever the hell we're creating together, you know. So
yeah, it definitely affects the sound for sure, because if you look at like your music you've released and your music you released, it's way different than when you go to watch like a duetted, both of you guys playing a show together, you know.
100%.
Speaking of us in the studio, I think we're long overdue for a day of us three in there together. Like, we wrote It's Me and You all together right there in the moment, and it's one of your better duets. Like, it's very much duet oriented. But I do like that you guys take the time, or have had the conversations of, like, you know, we are individual acts and we perform together, because that headache of, like, if they wanted one of you and not the other could ruin bands. And if like if you were trying to be a band, like Linkin Park, for example, you know, they wanted Chester. They were like, maybe you could just not have the rapping on the songs. And he was like, peace out. Left, like, or ditched out all these other labels until they found one that wanted the band. But that's, you know, you have to be very clear going into this what you actually want, you know. Yeah,
not to keep bringing up my old man, but I mean, that's one of the reasons why his dream died. They were picking up, Columbia Records actually wanted to sign him, and they said, you got to get rid of your bass player. You got to get rid of, I think it was Tubbs was his name. You know, he's a chunky guy, but they said, go fuck yourself. Now they're a bunch of could-have-beens. You know what I mean? That sucks, dude. I never want to be that.
I think it sucks, but there's also like a beauty to that of they knew what they wanted. They didn't want to go without any of their members. You know, they wanted to take the team with them.
Yeah, but they weren't. I don't know, man.
I know your dad. They never took it super seriously.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like, they should have took what they got.
Yeah, because they fell up. It wasn't a month later, and they were splitting up. You know what I mean? They could. And Tubbs was one of the first ones to leave. So that's the thing. Like,
the bass player.
God, the rhythm section. My God.
It'd be different if they were still like a band. You know, that would make more sense. But
exactly. Yeah.
They split anyway. But.
Yeah. Sad thing about that is Dad wrote all their songs, and probably could have just walked away and done something himself, but you know, you gotta, what is the feel out the room. You know what I mean? You gotta, you know,
Read the room.
read the room.
Yeah.
Read the room. And he clearly did not read the room correctly. He went on to try and do music, you know, around, I guess, you know, bar time picking the same way I did once upon a time, but, you know.
I also feel like being very clear on the fact that you guys are building individual careers helps propel you guys a lot faster. Because, yeah, you perform together, you live together, you work together, you do all that, but you're technically competing. You're like who's gonna pop off first, you know? So you're constantly pushing each other to be a little better and go a little bit more out of your comfort zone, try a new genre, try this, try that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a healthy competition because you guys are clear on that, and you know it's not like you're a duet, but one of you deep down is hoping like I pop off and leave this one behind. No, it's like if you pop off, awesome. Now I have to work harder to also pop off, you know?
Absolutely.
And
But
it's
it's only
also,
gonna benefit.
if you pop off and now, you know, we're in a better financial situation, that's only going to help the other person who hasn't yet, you know?
100%.
I mean, right now we kind of lean into it together. Well, I mean, I love it like that, don't get me wrong, but it's almost out of necessity sometimes. I mean, Blayd could do a lot more on his own than I could because he's mastered an instrument and I haven't. And so, I mean, that's the reality there. But
More than one instrument, but I mean, whatever you say.
Oh, wow, you got cocky. I thought you were going to be like, mastered's a strong word.
Yeah.
But
Well, no.
you're like, no, more than one. More
no,
than
no,
one.
no, 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 no. Rule number one of being in a room with Blayd, if you're going to make his head bigger, just prepare for him to take that and fucking run with it.
He'll make it even bigger.
No.
Yeah, there's no humbling
You're right about that,
himself.
though, Blayd.
You also have to humble him after the
Who the
conversation's
fuck do you
over.
know that's actually mastered a guitar? I mean, let's
Oh,
be
man.
honest. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a... As far as I'm concerned, Randy Rhoads and Slash didn't master guitar. You know, there's more to be learned always. But, you know, I
No, yeah, I don't
sincerely
think you'll ever
appreciate
get to the master. I think probably off the top of my head, John Mayer's probably getting the closest. But still, man, when you can play next to BB King or Slash or ZZ Top, and they all like, oh man, all right,
whatever, man.
you got
whatever
it, dude.
style, whatever
Yeah.
style he steps up there to play, he just
Knocks it out of the
fucking
park.
nails it. Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I think that when we first started performing, and it was truly just Blayd and I, it was all about bringing more versatility to his vocals, because you know you have two different vocalists with two different vocal ranges. It brings a intricacy that you just cannot get with just yourself, and so, I mean, I think that's where having me benefited him. And then, obviously, the fact that I would be singing to backing tracks or no music at all if I booked a solo gig is where he benefits me. But anyways, yeah, right now it's almost, we love to do it. I mean, there's nothing greater than sharing your main passion with your partner, especially in the music industry. That very thing tears apart relationships all the time. Honestly, I think we'd be trialed more with careers going in a separate direction, you know, especially if they both took off,
absolutely.
because that's not going to align. You see less of each other, all that. So, I mean, really it's out of necessity right now, but also
I'm just not into being a famous hammer swinger, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think it's great though, because you guys will always look back and enjoy this time of like you two just getting up there, because like if you popped off, you'd have a band, or just even if it's just a hired band for like whatever your tour is. But if you popped off first, that's where it would benefit him as well, because he gets to be like, I can go on tour and play guitar for you. I can do your backup instead of you do mine. Or if he pops off first, he still has, he's got you doing backup and you doing all that with him, and then all.
Yeah.
So it'll benefit, but it's just very good that you guys have that clear understanding of where it could go.
I think another thing that's very important is the utter honesty between the two of us. You know what I mean? Like I hold nothing back.
Mm-hmm.
She holds nothing back. If we feel a certain type of way about something, we're going to tell each other. It may hurt each other's feelings sometimes, but that's just the way that it is. And actually truly caring for the other one as much as yourself helps a tremendous amount. You know what I mean? Because if somebody said, hey man, we want to sign her, but you got to go fuck yourself, I'm going to go fuck off wholeheartedly. and support her 100%. That's just without question. You know what I mean? Because we support each other in that way.
Well, you want the best for each other and each
Yeah,
other's career.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
Again, that exactly. I mean, the honesty of both knowing what you want and a clear understanding of that, because it could tear a lot of people apart if that whole idea. Because if one of you was going into this thinking that we
Oh
are
my God, you're
forever
better
a
than me.
band, yeah.
Oh, you're better than me now.
Yeah.
So I've got insecurities, dude.
If one of you's thinking that you are a band, like you two are your thing.
Yeah.
It's also why we never had a band name, because you guys are your own thing here. So
A couple of members I'm just bouncing around in my head right now that have been through here. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, why can't we just have a band? Why can't we? This is why.
because you're gone in 3 months.
Or that, and I mean, I would have supported them 100%. If somebody was like, hey man, we want to sign you to our band and we're already famous, we want you to be our bass, but we want you to be our drummer, we want you to be our lead guitar, we would have 100% supported that. 100% supported that. Like, whoa, dude, here, let's help you get there. Turn the flip the script. I love those guys, I do, but it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah.
Those guys were not there to do that for us. You know what I mean? They would have been. That would have been there. Was that movie The Rocker? The drummer got left behind, right? That would have been them for the rest of our fucking careers and their lives. They would have been livid. They would have hated us, and that's the way that it would have been. And I hate that. I hate even thinking that, but I know that that's the facts. You know,
not everybody's cut out to make it in this kind of industry. But if we would have changed the band or made it a band name every time we had a different member
6
suggesting
different names
it,
already.
Yeah, man, Jesus.
At least 6, a half dozen or more. You know, yes.
Yeah. But I like it the way it is. It works. It's Blayd Law and Tara Nickole. If you guys release songs together, it's Blayd Law featuring Tara Nickole or Tara Nickole featuring Blayd Law. It's like.
And if people are curious as to how we decide that, it's I had the first one, she had the second one, and we continue from there. You know what I mean? Like,
or just whoever wrote. Yeah, like if it's clearly something that like you.
Right.
Like the last duet we did, he had the whole he had a guitar loop already in his mind, and he was
Which
laying
one are you
it.
thinking?
The last one we wrote.
Man, it was right after we just watched that TV series, and I wanted that so.
Damn, why can't I think of the name of it? It's the one that we have on
Yeah.
our sets
Love
all
Me?
the time.
Yes.
Love Me. Okay, I was thinking Open Your Eyes for some reason, but I was like, that one clearly is your song because you wrote it forever ago.
was
You
like
know what I mean?
16.
Yeah, so like obviously that's gonna be a you featuring you.
Yeah, but he initiated that and already had like a few lines down and everything. But I heard it and was like, hey, I think I could go in this direction if you're interested. But that was already his song. He had already laid a chunk of that down and knew he was going some direction with it. I just heard it and was like, I like this. What do you think about this direction? You know, if he would have said, no, I don't. I kind of want it to be a solo thing, no problem. That's his song. So that was released under him. Yeah.
Honesty again. Honesty, guys. If I didn't like what she was bringing to the table, then I would tell her. That's a big thing.
But I'm super excellent, and melodies are my thing. So like, who would not like what I brought to the table? Nobody's sitting here yet.
Who's gassing who up now?
I was about to say both of y'all with your
you haven't gassed me up one singular time, so I'm just making us even.
Well, I said that if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have it.
Oh, what a compliment. Oh.
No, she does bring a tremendous vocal range to the table, and I love it, and I try to utilize that as much as possible.
Not just that, but our styles are different. So, I mean, they're different, and in the beginning, they did not mesh. The first time I heard us singing together, I was like...
I was nervous about the festival. I won't even lie. Like, I was nervous about the festival.
That wasn't even his idea. It was,
oh, my God. Holy crap.
Blake,
we had more than just one new one up there, right? Blake got on stage that day, too. I forgot about that.
It's the only time I've ever performed anything. Just one song. Yeah. And the guitar was falling out of tune the whole time.
So cold.
Yeah.
It was like, hurry up, finish
For those of you guys that have no idea what the hell Strings and Friends is understandable. It was a one-time festival. it was 30 degrees. It was fucking cold.
Colder than
And
that.
man, when we were at night when we were trying to sleep, oh my
I think
god.
I think 12 was the lowest it had got that weekend.
Yeah, and we were in a pop-up camper.
Mm-hmm.
It was essentially a tent with wheels.
With what, 6 of us.
Yeah, and it still was not warm enough.
No,
You know,
so
breaker kept
cold.
flipping, heater kept shutting
I'm
off.
surprised we didn't all start like piling together.
Yeah,
Like we
it
got
is-
everybody in one bed. We're cold.
Puddle. If we
Yeah.
had all been, if everybody in there had been as close as what the remaining people are now, we probably would have done a couple.
Probably would have
I
ended
mean,
up
if we would have done more drugs, I feel like it might have done that, but you know,
there. enough,
just melted together.
yeah, enough shrooms and we're
Yeah.
all in a pile. You know, music festivals. That was a time there. I don't think any of the bands ended up getting paid from that. Dude flaked out. The big ones that
so
wanted to pay up front.
Arkansas got paid.
Strings and Friends.
Hillbenders got paid.
Or not Strings Friends, Eureka Strings.
Eureka Strings got paid. I know for sure those groups got paid. I know we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
I
was
know.
potential
Oh my God! I
lawsuits.
know Scott didn't get paid.
And what about,
that
like,
was
you
a big
guys
deal. He
ordered
was
some shirts?
livid about that. Yeah.
Shirts were ordered at there, and those, I
Never
mean,
showed up.
no,
We
probably
paid up front and everything. Never got our shirts.
you
Yeah.
fill out a form. They probably just wadded it up and threw it in the
Literally.
trash
Thanks for
can
the
behind
20.
them. Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
that was a great way to scam some money. They're like, yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
your house in like 2 weeks, and they sign all your stuff, and they're like,
Yep. Mm.
Yeah, no, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't.
it worked. They probably made lots of money.
Probably.
I'll tell you
yeah.
what, though, I ate more grilled cheeses that weekend
my
than
God.
I've ever eaten.
Fantastic.
I don't know who you are, but if you ever watch this,
Grilled
you're at
cheese
like all
ladies.
these festivals. You're the best. Those grilled cheese ladies are fantastic.
Fantastic. And they said artists eat free, so like I tried not to overuse it. I'm not even gonna lie, but man, I ate a lot of free grilled cheeses that weekend, and they were all great. I tried every one of them, and they were all fantastic.
They
Those
got all the
ladies are
breads,
amazing.
all the
Yep,
cheeses. They were
Yep.
ready.
absolutely.
It's gonna turn into a grilled cheese podcast.
And they were sleeping in there. Those ladies were sleeping in there, and then they just wake up and start cooking.
It's like it's not even like a tent. It's just like a canopy. And
Yeah.
they're like, we're just right here. And then we wake up by the grill, ready to
yeah,
go.
it was
Leave it on for heat.
Mhm.
God.
not a total waste though.
Oh, we
Made some
friends.
fantastic friends. Yeah, actually, Bear. As a matter of fact, I just messaged him the other day, and he said, because we weren't a big name there. You know, I'm not even gonna pretend like we were. We were at the bottom of the roster, but we got to play with some bigger names, and that was awesome. That was fun. That was important to me, and I feel like it was important to her. But the friendships made. Eureka Springs is a fantastic place to be as far as the music goes, like in Arkansas. You know what I mean? And I have made connections in Eureka Springs, and we're going to be playing there this next season more. So, you know, it wasn't a total miss, and I don't feel like any experience is a waste of time anyways. You know, everything happens for a reason. So
I made some good friends. I still, every once in a while, if you're watching this, love you, buddy. Talk to old Cam the poet. And
Oh,
check
God.
out.
yeah.
He
Yeah,
dropped a
dude.
whole. He dropped a whole album of his
I
spoken
listened.
word.
Yep,
Yeah, I've
I
checked the whole
absolutely
thing out.
listened to it all the way through for sure.
He's a good guy. I
Yeah,
like
he's
him.
a good guy and a great poet. So
He's like in some other country right now. He's
Yeah, I
been
saw
traveling all
that.
over
Really?
the place, man. He's just everywhere.
yeah, I kind of fell off following him, but yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm so glad to see somebody else following their dreams and doing that, dude.
Mhm.
That guy's ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. He was doing everything, and man, he bounced back even through it because like right shortly after that he he lived
Van
in,
blew up.
he
and
lived
all
in
that.
it. He wrecked it.
Oh.
It was it destroyed his
Not
van he
literally,
built into a home.
Excuse me, not literally blew up. When I say blew up, I'm a country guy. Sorry. When I say blew up, I mean the motor shot or the transmission shot. You know what I mean? I don't mean like he was in an
Yeah.
explosion.
Yeah, it was
But-
done, and it was nice. He had converted it and everything,
Yeah.
but still, he could have took that and been like, "Man, now I gotta go get a
Toast,
job."
you gotta get
I
a
mean, he's
job.
still working,
Mhm.
doing his thing, but he nonstop trying, keep going at his stuff. And I love it. We ended up at a good couple events with him, you know.
There's been some of those with us. Can't lie about that. You know what I mean? Like, hell, we've been trying to get our camper on the road for fucking, how long have we owned that thing?
A year.
A year. We've had a
Yeah,
camper
I
for a
think-
year. We've
yeah.
stayed in it not once. You know. So I mean, I get it. There's always going to be setbacks, and let me tell you, you will be wishing you were sleeping in that friggin' camper whenever you're driving back at 5 o'clock in the friggin' morning. You can barely hold your eyes open. It's borderline dangerous, but is it worth it? Every fucking second. you know.
That's a good segue. Let's talk a little bit about like what it's really like for you guys, because again, you're raising 4 kids throughout the week,
Yeah.
working jobs, getting the kids back and forth from school, got to drive them, pick them up, and then to be making trips like almost every weekend, going out of town and playing shows, and yeah, just
In a word, hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's your visual or
Yeah.
experience been?
I mean, it's gonna sound depressing, but I just always feel like I'm failing at everything. Like I have tons of stuff. I mean, I do. I mean, the good part of that is that that's the adversity, right? And I just do it anyways, and I rise above it. Like that's the lesson in that. But to be frank, like it's hard. I don't. I'm a clean freak. Okay, my house never clean, ever. In fact, I've developed this uncanny ability to look only directly in front of me and not look anywhere else whenever I know the house is a mess, because I won't get anything else done. And this is a huge house. We live in a really big house, and it's always messy because, you know, we aren't home a lot. We have 4 kids, again, we have animals, you know, all the things it's lived in.
Not
for
one of
sure.
them are teenagers yet either. Just bear that in mind.
No.
So they hardly pick up after themselves.
Yeah,
Mm,
so
drop it, next thing.
Yeah.
So
Literally.
there's that. Yeah, there's that. And, you know, I've mentioned earlier that I am not that skilled in any instrument. I've dabbled here and dabbled there. And a lot of times I don't feel like I have extra time to focus on anything extra. You know, I'm managing a household. And, I mean, we are partners, but we do have stuff that falls strictly on our shoulders. Like, you know, we split responsibilities. So a lot of the inside house stuff, like that's my job. I'm managing a household. I get up really early. I commute for work. During the week, I'm gone for about 12 hours out of every day. And then I get home and, you know, there's all of the family stuff that you have to do. And the kids are getting older, so they have extracurriculars that, of course, you want to be there for. And then you have your own stuff. Like I haven't recently, but I have tried really hard to stay like fit and exercise consistently.
I was gonna say that we're all kind of gym freaks at this point. You know what I mean? Or
I
try
mean,
to be. But
we were
slacking off.
consistent for a while, but life, and it's something that I'm like, yeah, I need to get back into. But so I mean, like, no, there is not enough of me, nor is there enough time to have a full-time day job, write new music, take care of my kids, learn instruments, try to maintain my physical health, learn anything additionally new. Honestly, like, I mean, we're talking like I don't have 30 minutes to just sit down and do stuff, and I get minimal sleep every single night, and it's crazy. And on the weekends, when you catch up on all of that stuff, I'm gone. On Friday nights, we've got gigs. Saturdays, we've got gigs that are usually far away, so we're traveling half the day, playing the gig, and either coming back home at 3 a.m. or we're staying the night somewhere far away, and then driving back Sunday. And then that just blows up my whole studio day, which brings me to the point that if I am home, Sunday is a studio day, so I can keep learning how to become an engineer. That's something else that I'm trying to do, so I can keep pumping out music so that we can keep our artistic brains whirling around. You know, it's a fucking lot. I constantly feel like I am not measuring up in any of those categories because my self is spread so thin.
Yeah, I'm glad you said this out loud.
And it sounds like bitching, and maybe it
No.
is a little bit, but the beauty of all of that is that it all works out anyways. Like, my house might not be as clean as I want it to be, but that's fine. I don't want to spend my whole entire life cleaning my house. That sucks. You know, I make it to my kids' stuff when I can't. Blayd's there. We're good. We're square. We got it covered. You know, we have everything that we need. We are accomplishing everything that we need. No, I'm not great on an instrument, you know, but I'm aware of whenever I have some extra time to sit down and pick around on a guitar a little bit, or I bring it to work if I feel like I'm going to have a lunch that day. That doesn't always happen. But I mean, like, it's worth it. Make it work, and it's worth it. And I wouldn't, anything that I have going on, I wouldn't take it away. I wouldn't subtract any of that from my life. Mm-hmm. So I do it anyways. It's crazy. It's hectic. People look at the both of us like we're psychopaths. Honestly, we don't. We're just running around like crazy, but we're both doing it. We both bring our effort to the table, so that helps. I mean, doing it by myself would be mind blowing, I think. But we're doing it, and we're accomplishing it, and it's all worth it at the end of the day because our kids are taken care of and they're happy, and on top of that they get to have happy parents because we're also putting in the extra work to do what we want to do, not just what we have to do. And there's a beauty in that, and I know that at some point when I can catch a breath, whether that be whenever kids start leaving the house from and graduating high school, or whether that be one of us makes it and now we have money to like hire people to help with some of this stuff, we have money to have staff, or something like that, then you can look back on all of it and be like, fuck, like,
Jeeves, drive the kids to school this morning. I gotta learn this song. You know what I mean? That'd be nice.
well, I mean, you just like, I did all of that, like,
I gotta be in the
yeah.
studio at 7:30, so I need you to take the kids to school. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something like that would be nice.
But until that opportunity, we did all of it already. We were doing all of it, and we made it work. And even if it's slow progress, I feel like we've made progress every single year with where we're at, booking shows, making new music, just adding more stuff to the loop. There's other stuff I used to try to do by myself, but thankfully you and Ashlyn really do like all of the photos, the videos, the social media, so that's not...
Oh my God, that's absurd.
Because that's a whole entire job, I mean, by itself, so that was something that lifted a little bit.
I tank on that, so... I tank on that bad, so I thank God they're here.
So anyways, that was my long-winded way of saying that it's super overwhelming, and I'm never going to gloss over that, not even one singular second, because I feel like people would be like, yeah, I can do that, and then it gets overwhelming, and then you stop. It's so overwhelming all the time. Mm-hmm. You won't get a break for a really long time. But... Or
ever, maybe? We don't know
or
yet.
ever. But if it's what you want, truly, if that's what you want, you will never rest a freaking day in your life if you have a peaceful existence, because there's not too much on your plate and you're not overworking yourself. You're never ever going to be satisfied. There's always going to be a little hole in there just eating away at you, and that is worse than being overwhelmed.
Yeah, like I would in a heartbeat trade in, like I would add more hectic and more stress in a heartbeat to drop my job fully. Like my swinging a hammer, building houses, all that crap. And done. Mm-hmm. I mean, and be more stressed and all that? Dude, yes, because we're doing what we love. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Stressful? Yes, don't care. It's perfect. It's perfect, Going back to what she said a minute ago, doing it alone, it is easier. As a guy that started his career without the duet thing back before all this, it is easier. It was easier with half the kids and no old lady. You can just do what you want to do. It's easier that way. It was easier that way, but would I fucking go back and trade any of that? No. I love you more than I love you.
A lot of people do that. A lot of people will commit so hard to what they're doing that they'll put off the rest of their life. Like, they won't do anything. They will wait to have kids,
So
can't
sad.
have a relationship, can't do this because, like, all I'm doing is this. I'm committed to this.
Yeah.
And you can do both, but it is, you have to add the stress.
Yeah.
You have to add
Man,
quite a bit
sometimes
more
I just
you're
want to
doing.
fall down and cry. You know what I mean? Look at me. I'm tearing up right now just thinking about it. But, I mean, dude, I wouldn't take any of it back. I've got a partner that'll be by my side for forever. Why would I?
No, it's good. Basically, everything you were just describing is exactly why most people will never do it. Most people, it's just too much for most people. They can't commit to, like, I'm going to be doing this and this. I'm going to have to go to the games, and then I'm also going to have to come home and practice. I'm going to have to, the kids like sports games is what I mean.
Yeah.
But you doing both is, you're stretching yourself as thin as possible, but...
Paper thin, man.
But that's just what it takes, man. If you really want that for your life, and if it is, like, what you really want, like you're saying, you'll do it. You'll do it anyway.
In case anybody was wondering, I am the crier. She does...
I've been traumatized too much. I don't have working tear ducts.
I'm a pussy.
It's definitely it can be a whole lot to manage for sure.
Oh, it's coming from the manager himself. Yeah, that's how it all started. I mean, he's slowly giving me the reins on more and more of my career for sure, but that's my manager right there. I mean, without that guy, it would have been a hell of a lot harder, let me fucking tell you.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
gotta- if
really, without Blake, it wouldn't have happened. You wouldn't have happened. We don't really talk about it that much, but Blayd was not super keen on the idea of me joining him musically. The first time we tried to collaborate, it did not go well.
I had a mental breakdown and freaked out.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So we didn't do anything together like that for a long time. It was really Blake.
Didn't really want to write anything with her, I'll be honest. I was scared because of how bad I flipped out the first time.
You
I mean, I
also-
didn't say flip out, but like I just shut
We've
down.
never finished that song either.
No.
But but I mean, Blake was the first one to be like, "Hey, you should get up there and sing some backup, if that's something you're interested in." And I remember going like, I'd be super happy to do that, but I don't think that that's where Blayd and I are at right now, so I'm not going to do that. And so it took a while, and it was finally Strings and Friends that happened. And he was like, he just kept going, "Don't worry, we'll get you up there, don't worry about it." And then so finally, I was like, all right, yeah, I mean, if Blayd's cool with it, I'll get up there. And Blayd and I didn't even talk about it. He talked to Blayd about it, and he talked to me about it, and then it was kind of like, all right, I'm going to practice a little bit before the festival, and then I'm going to get up there. And mainly it was a duet I was practicing just to make sure I had the lyrics down and stuff. But that's how that started. So
ego can get in the way out there, and you definitely were always like, you're the front man. You wanted to be the big front man. Like, screw the rest of the band. I'm the front guy. Like, you sit back there on your kit. You sit back there and play bass. You go play this. I'm the guy.
I'm just
so having another
why
singer.
was it so hard to do what I said? No, I'm just, it's just shut up and do what I say.
Having another singer when you are, have considered yourself the big front guy for all of your life, it can be hard. But now we get back to where we are, or we were talking about earlier, and you're like, if she popped off before you, of course it's going to light some competition in you. That's just part of there. But that's great. You're pushing for it. It's awesome, or vice versa, which before, like 2 or 3 years ago, you never would have been, you would have been like, I'm giving up, I quit, she made it, and without me, then nobody needs me, I suck, because that's how you would have just been straight to negative.
Yeah.
But you've grown a lot in that amount of time because of the working together and doing the joint thing.
I think so, yeah.
But that's hard for a lot of people too, to take their ego cap off when they're sitting anywhere.
Yeah, I had a big one.
Yeah. I gotta take it off when I'm in the studio, because like I know I'm a producer, so I produce and I do my best to affect the song. I'm not just an engineer. I don't just record and be like, cool, mix, master, done. I try to produce and like help the song grow, but I got to take my ego cap off a lot when I'm in there, because like it would be so easy for me to just shut down so many ideas from any of you guys or any of the artists I work with and be like, nope, that's not right. That's not how it should go. It's not the right structure. That's not the right. We shouldn't add this instrument with that. It doesn't work. We couldn't do it, because I have to step back and be like, it's 100% taste. So like, if you guys are like, no, I like this, it sounds good the way it is, then I'm like, cool, they like it. I'll be in there mixing it and like, this feels wrong, but when I send it to one of y'all, I'm like, you love it, and I'm like, all right, they like it, I don't care. But because again, what I know to be right isn't necessarily right either. It's all a matter of opinion. It's just what's worked in the past, or following the music theory stuff of all that. But there's no rules. You just do whatever. You can make it however you want. So, I mean, that's my version of the ego cap. I'm not up there on the stage with you guys, but it's being a joint team like we're doing here.
We have to know exactly when to put it off and take it on. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you have to
put
step
it
up
off and take it off. On and off, whatever.
Got you.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Know what I mean? Not to say. But, I mean, because, I mean, it's like I try to keep it off for most of the time. You know, conversations with people, try to keep it off. You know what I mean? Try not to be a total asshole.
Mm.
But the second I walk into that bar, festival, whatever, that bitch is going on.
Mm.
I put it right on. I mean, right on. No hesitation. Second I walk into the, hey, what's up? Blayd Law, we're here to play. You know what I mean? It's right on top of my head. But it has to be, because, again, we've had this talk a lot of times. If I can't convince myself that I'm a total badass, how the hell am I supposed to convince a festival full of people that I'm a total badass on stage right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's real important. But the knowing, though, when to take it off
Yeah.
and put it on.
Oh, yeah. Because you have to, I mean, it has to be real quick, because you can't be that egotistical dickhead when you're talking to people that are like, hey, man, how did you do that on guitar? You know what I mean? Yeah, fucking years of practice, dipshit. No, you know what I mean? Like, well, you know, first I learned this, and then, you know, something as simple as that. It's just conversations go two different ways, wearing your hat or not, you know. It's very important when to learn to take it off. You know what I mean? Very important, because, I mean, like a drop of a dime, you know what I mean? It has to be that. Has to be that. But, I don't know.
Yeah, you also gotta be able to read the room well. Because,
Oh.
like, if I'm sitting in here with a very unexperienced artist in the studio, then I'm going to produce. I'm going to direct everything we need to do. But if I walk into the studio and I'm sitting there with, like, Pharrell or, like, Ryan Tedder or something, I'm just going to shut up. Because there's no way I know more than what they know. I might have my own tastes that I can bring to the table. But you got to know when you're the guy and when you're not the guy.
Yeah, but again, we've worked with other producers, and I prefer that you didn't shut up and it went well that way. You know what I mean? But there's...
Yeah, I have... It can be really hard the few times I've been in the room with other producers while they're producing.
There's a reason why they're not around still.
But like, it's hard to bite your tongue and sit there, and I've talked with them even after the fact about it, about how, like, yeah, there's multiple things I would have said or would have changed or would have suggested in the middle of the process, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah.
So I step back, but sometimes I feel like I take mine off too much. I need to keep mine on a little more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But we all hold ourselves at a different level. Like, I don't hold myself way up here as like a crazy good producer at this point. So when I'm around other producers, I'm like, what are you guys going? But also, that's how I learn.
You're
like,
a big why guy. You're
Yeah.
a big why guy.
Yeah,
But why did you do that?
Yeah,
you know?
no. Once I understand why you did something or why it works the way it does, it makes it so much easier for me to go from there. I feel like that with anything in life, not just music. It's like, if you can understand why something's doing what it is or why it's important, it fixes everything. But I learn that way too. So like, I shut up and listen whenever I feel like I'm around somebody I can learn something from. But
absolutely, well, that's important. I mean, if you always feel like you're the smartest guy in the room, then you're never gonna learn more shit. You know what I mean?
And if you are the smartest guy in the room all the time, you need to get in different rooms.
Yeah, you need to place
you're
yourself
not gonna
in a new
level up
room.
at all.
Absolutely.
You're just gonna be sitting here like always feeling like you got this cock in your walk, and I'm big bad shit, and all you guys suck.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, all right, no name dropping, but I mean, when we first started this, you learned a lot from the guy that was producing, but at the same time, you learned a lot of stuff that was wrong, you know, that he was doing that was wrong, you know what I mean? And the next guy, even, you know what I mean? Like, there's just you're always that guy that's willing to learn more and understand, and just want to understand everything. So that's cool. I feel like I'm getting a little off topic now.
I mean, it's fine. This is topic. Just talking about what our experience is. Because really, we're like, this is the core group of, Taylor's not in here, Ashlyn, as you'll hear her called.
Ashler.
Yeah. That's my wife. Everyone else knows her as Ashlyn, but I've called her middle name forever because I met her through her family, and they all call her middle name. So if you hear me say Taylor and hear them say Ashlyn, it's the same person. So, sorry. Got distracted there. This is the core like group of our team here, you know. So, but, man, a lot of people don't have that either. A lot of people are by themselves, and that makes it a lot harder.
Dude, me and Sky talked about this back during the festival. You know, it's been 2 years ago. He just like amazed at what I have. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I've got one guy. You know what I mean? Back then, anyways, and I've got well, obviously it's the 3 or 4 of us, but I was like, I just have one great friend that's willing to stick by me forever. You know what I mean? He's willing to learn all the things that need to be learned. He's willing to manage me. At that point, you were my manager strictly. You know what I mean? So you're, well, we thought so. You're kind of producing the same time too. But anyways, all that aside, it's important to have at least that one. You know what I mean? That one person. And if you don't, man, you gotta find them. I mean, seriously, you've got to have a team if you want to make it. Unless you're like, you know, again, Ryan Tedder. You know what I mean? That guy can do everything. But if you can't, you got to have that help. And I have an amazing best friend that has helped me in every way that I can slack off. He makes up for it, and then pushes me to make up for it in that area. And it's put me in a lot of better places.
No, I appreciate that. But yeah, really, even more so than just like having somebody in your team, even if you don't have somebody that is actually actively going to be a part of what you're doing, you need somebody who can mentally keep you in check. Someone who can call you on your bullshit and let you know when you're fucking need to be doing more, or when you're, you know, you got to have that, you know, yeah, therapist or coach or whatever you want to call it. You got to have that, like, somebody to keep you in check, which now, like, that's one of the big benefits of having a relationship revolving around your career. It can also tear apart relationships, but navigating it the right way can be the most powerful tool you'll ever have for your career, is the person you spend more time with than anybody but yourself, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally 100% agree, because that was kind of like the lightning rod for us. You know what I mean? We both absolutely love what we're doing. We both absolutely understand that about each other. You know, it's skyrocketed us towards exactly where we want to go. Granted, I could stay on top of booking and stuff more, you know what I mean, to keep us a little more busy, but at the same time, like, in the weeks that I have slacked off, we've really needed it. Like, we've needed that time to practice, or we've needed that time with our children, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's working. You know, it's all part of our get rich slow scheme, and it's working. So
sure as hell ain't fast.
No, I don't think you'd enjoy it as much though if it was.
No,
like,
right?
You got to enjoy the process of where it's going to get. Because, again, I've said it hundreds of times. I feel like one day we're going to be wishing we could just go back to the house where we were all here, just recording in the house, working on stuff, writing together. Because you'd be recording various studios, who knows, all over the freaking world. You might not be with me for every song. You might not be doing stuff together for every song. You probably won't be playing every show together. But you're going to miss that, you know? I
feel like the test of time is going to be what carries us through. You know what I mean? So someone like, okay, perfect example. Pico's on the rooftop, right? They blew up. Boom, they were there. Where the fuck are they now?
I have no idea.
Right, me either.
I just know this damn song.
This damn song. That was a big one. They blew up. They weren't very popular. Blew up for a little while. Now they're gone.
Yeah, they're still touring.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
I just think that they're like a niche. You know, there's a lot of people that we like to listen
exactly.
to. That's
and
kind of like a niche group.
I never wanted to be that. We want to be someone like that is remembered for decades. You know what I mean? That's my goal, is to be remembered for decades. After we're finally there, I want to hold that. I want to maintain that, and I want to keep that. And the only way to do that is practice. What the fuck are we doing right now? You know what I mean? Every day practicing at what we're gonna eventually be, inevitably what we want to be. So I feel like that's why it's taking so long.
Well, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You
exactly.
know, you gotta take your time.
Exactly. And if sprints don't last long. You know, I don't want to be a fizzle out and be gone again. I want to maintain our careers, and I want to carry on for forever.
Yeah. You have any thoughts to add here? I feel like you're the quiet one here. We both just keep talking.
Yeah, you guys just talk
all
the time.
Sorry.
No, it's just how
I'm a listener and an observer, so that means I know all the things. Probably exactly what you're going to say before it comes out of y'all's mouths. I don't know. There's been a lot that you guys have talked about. I guess the main point was the ego thing. I don't really have a lot of an ego. I think most of mine is fake.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, whatever.
That's the ego talking.
Yeah.
I don't think I have an ego. I think that's just
I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, everybody has a little bit, like, of something to keep them going. I totally get that. I'm just saying that, like, a lot of this for me, I love to sing, of course. That's, like, what drives me. I love singing. But the big dick energy that comes with being in this kind of position is not something. God, I keep hitting that. It's pissing me off. It's not something that naturally comes to me. There's a lot of shit that I have to, like, fake to be in the right, like, headspace for stuff like this. So I mean, yeah, I'm not saying I don't have one at all. Everybody has an ego about something. That's just, like, par for the course with a personality, honestly. But what?
Say what you want to, sweetheart, but let somebody tell you how to fucking sing. That I love you so much.
Yeah.
You have an ego. Love you.
I feel like your ego is ignoring your ego.
Yeah.
Well, look at this. I've learned more about myself today than I thought that I would.
I've heard you
I've
say many a
witnessed.
times that when you're born to do this, that's ego. There.
I mean, maybe, but I think that's also, that doesn't just mean singing. It just means, like, whatever in your heart you're supposed to do. It doesn't have to be.
And again, I stick with you have to be the first one to believe that you're a rock star to convince the next people. So it's good that you have that.
Yeah, I don't mean like born to do this because I'm, like, the best fucking thing that's ever shot out of a vagina and opened her mouth and out came a sound from lungs that sounded nice. I mean,
Coming from the person that's been taking the lead role in singing in public school since I can fucking remember. She can
but
say whatever she wants to do.
that wasn't easy. That wasn't like, yeah, I'm fucking great. I'm gonna fucking get up there. I'm gonna do that, and I'm fucking better than everybody. And there was a lot of people around me whenever I was younger, like our music teacher at the time. She really encouraged me to do stuff like that. Like, I never would have just popped up there by myself and did that, and it was terrifying.
Say what you want, sweetheart, but you had an ego even back then because you didn't see them asking me to get the fuck up there.
Well, okay. Okay.
I think it's part of the imposter syndrome thing, though. Like, you do have that feeling you need to be up there, but when you're up there, you're like, I don't think I should be here.
Yeah.
But you still push your way into
get that.
it, which is good. You need that, though.
Yeah. Well, apparently, according to both of these dudes sitting beside me, which they do spend a lot of time with me, so I guess grain of salt, I do, in fact, have an ego. However, what I feel internally, I am most of the time just faking it. Like, truly.
Imposter syndrome, literally.
Yeah, I'm straight up faking it. I have actually, if you want to know the truth, like a good dose of social anxiety, which really sucks. So a lot of, like, when we go out in public, I envy Blayd because he is a lot better at integrating himself into a crowd and chit-chatting with people, and I'm not. Whether he's faking that or not, he's better at it than I am. I am so not good at that. I've gotten better at it because that's how you talk to your crowd and meet new people and remember them, and like that kind of stuff. I'm getting better at it, but so yeah, I'm like petrified most of the time. I don't feel like I have anything like that fuels me other than, like, I just want it really, really bad, and so I'm scared, but I just do it anyways. So
Social anxiety, that's a funny, weird term for me, just because, like, if I'm in a room full of people, I've got anxiety for sure. If I'm in a room full of people and I'm the center of attention, it's gone.
I was gonna say that. You beat me to it. I was like, you seem to be like, you're less anxious if you just, instead of, like, worrying, like are these people going to be paying attention to me? You're like, I'm just going to make them pay
Bam.
attention to me.
That's it.
Now
And I
have to
don't know
think about
why.
it.
It's like a schizophrenia thing almost. Like, I'm like, what are they talking about? Are they thinking about me? Jesus Christ, what are they thinking about?
But if you can
if
control the
if I can't
narrative
even
in the
let them get a
crowd.
fucking word in, then I don't care. You know what I mean? So
They're not thinking anything
Yeah.
besides, God, will you shut the
Yeah.
fuck up for like 30 seconds?
I think it's kind of the past relationships and stuff that I've been into, because they would just, eat away at you a little bit, like, you know what they were thinking about you and stuff like that. But, and the way I was brought up too, that probably has a lot to do with it. But I don't know. I've used it to my advantage, I guess. Being some guy that loves to perform, I guess it does work to my advantage.
I think you guys both have, like, where one slacks, the other one picks up, because when it comes to the anxiety, I think you are more of, you can direct the crowd from the stage. He can direct the crowd from the middle of the room. Like, he can walk in and talk to everybody. On the stage, you've always hid behind your guitar a little bit more. Like, the idea for you to grab the mic and not have a guitar for a song is, like,
Scares
scary.
the shit out of me, yeah.
But for her, she'll stand there and do all that. But it's like the second you're off stage, you'll be the one walking around mingling with everybody, and she's the one back over here at our table, like, hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Yeah.
Little break time.
Yeah.
So it's weird, the opposites there, because, like, the second you're on the stage, you come out of your shell, and the second you're off the stage, you come out of your shell. Like, you're up there performing. You're not, like, hiding the whole time.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, the idea of you, like, walking around with the mic in the crowd is, like, scary for you compared to up here just, like, I got this, because you're like, I don't know what to do with my hands
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that's it. Yeah, absolutely. I 100%.
And that, like, me being good on stage, better, whatever, and that also was born from fear, but also embarrassment, because I looked horrid and petrified for a while up there on stage, and I wasn't even front and center, y'all. Like, I was off to the side,
The backup vocal over here
kind of
first.
tucked away behind Blayd even, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, they're all staring at us, and everybody else is doing shit with their hands, and I'm just standing here like waiting for a moment to, like,
That's why we got you the tambourine.
vocalize.
Also, you do
Funk
better
gun
in
for you at
the
first.
music video thing too. That's another thing,
Oh, on
because
camera?
she knows exactly what to do, and I'm like, fucking hell, what's up?
That is just practice too.
Yeah, you play to the camera. You do your best to ignore the camera, which works great for when you're doing like covers or acoustics, or you're actually playing and singing, because then you're just singing. But like when it comes to the music video, you're like, camera's here, and you're like, I'm gonna look over there.
Butterfly in the sky.
But she'll be like, eyes in the screen. Even throughout this, like, I've noticed you're looking forward at the camera. Now I'm
like
doing
if
it a
I'm
lot
talking
more.
to the audience, I'm gonna talk to the audience.
It's just how it goes naturally. Like, where you and me have been talking more to each other.
Yeah.
But that's the difference there. Like, you're good when it comes to the camera or the talking on the stage, and you're good when it comes to the one-on-one bouncing around talking to the people. But having both of those and knowing where you can play to your strengths can help navigate this business.
Having each other,
for sure.
man, yet again, like doing this as a duet, it has helped us a lot, tremendously. Honestly, she's helped me get into she's helped me maintain places that we've performed in a lot. You know what I mean? Being that person that is great up on stage and talking to people. Whereas I came from the guy that was just sitting in the bar playing. You know what I mean? So it's been an adventure. I mean, granted, I've got out of my shell a lot since then, as we've spent years growing, obviously, but yes.
Well, it's become a performance. Like, for years, I always referred to you as, like, you're the campfire singer.
Yeah.
Like, you're the guy at the party with the acoustic that's sitting in the corner over here just playing, doing some stuff. Or, like, it's background music more than anything. Now, with the two of you and both working on coming out of your shells and practicing that, it's a show. Like, you draw in more attention rather than just being the guy over here playing, doing some stuff.
Yeah.
And that's good, playing to each other's strengths too, because like you have her to lean on for some talking, and she's got you to lean on for the instrumentation and having fun. And because you are expressive with your guitar, and you start soloing, you are moving around doing stuff. Instead of hiding behind your guitar, you're like putting the guitar in front of the mic, like it's the front man right now and doing its thing. But it
that
works.
was a whole nother adventure too, by the way. Fucking learning lead, my God,
You were a rhythm guy.
I was never a lead guy. I still don't consider myself a lead guitarist. Yeah, you about to pee your pants? God,
Coffee.
I am. My eyeballs are floating right now. But, I mean, I don't know, man. Learning lead was a whole nother thing, and learning lead as a duet, like learn where to place that. Because I mean, if you remember correctly, it was overbearing at first. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I can do this, and now that's all I'm gonna do. You know? So,
Yeah, I had to call you out a few
like,
times.
hey
The
man,
song
you
has,
just did 4 solos in Tara's fucking song.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, you know what? You're right. But at the same time, yes, it needed to be reeled back. That's without a doubt. But at the same time, we played a gig where Tara said on the microphone, "It's not. Do you really think it's just all about the lead guitar or the lead guitarist and the?" Okay, now she's hitting the mic, but
she's coming to talk.
but some lady in the crowd said it always has been, sweetheart. You know what I mean? So at the same time, you know, I must be doing something right.
Yeah, no,
but
it depends on,
even
it just
if I don't
depends on the
consider
goal.
myself a lead guitarist, I must be doing something at least a little okay, because I've gotten quite a few compliments on what we're doing, especially being a lead acoustic guitarist. Because dude, unless we're in the studio, I don't play my lead guitar or practice. You know what I mean? I don't play my lead guitar, my electric guitar anymore. It's not as fun. You know, I love my acoustic guitar. I've always loved my acoustic guitar, and
That's the core of what you've always been. You and an acoustic.
Yeah, and people all the time are like, "Hey man, what is that thing you're playing?" I'm like, "It's an acoustic electric," and they're like, "What are you doing with that thing?" I'm like, "Well, okay, you know, you've obviously paid enough attention, you know what I mean?" And then you can explain to them like, "Okay, I've got an acoustic body, mid-size acoustic guitar body with an electric Stratocaster neck on it. It's a real electric acoustic, and we're moving forward from that, trying to go into, they got the Acoustasonics now that are even the thin body that sound just like an acoustic or just like an electric. So one day I'd like to have one of those too.
I've always wanted a Strat acoustic.
God, so bad.
They're so nice.
They've moved on from that though. The Strat acoustics have made into what is now the Acoustasonic. So it's like you can get the Telecaster, you can get the Jazzmaster, or you can get the Strat. And I don't give a shit. I want one. I don't care which one. But we'll get there. It's just a lot of money, you know.
I'm back.
You walked
You're
away
fine.
and then
Bearcat's doing it too.
knocked your mic as she walked
Oh,
away.
did she?
So it was like still happening. It was
She's like, "Don't worry, I'll still keep the tabby tabs going."
Where'd she go?
ran away.
Oh, okay.
I'm surprised Lucy's not over here glued to one.
Well,
of
you
us.
can see where my cat is. She's
Passed out.
fat and lazy.
Yeah.
Just laying there,
She's
so.
like, she's done had 40 litters.
She's
like,
tired, y'all.
Yeah.
She's so tired. Just let grandma rest. Yeah.
She's a beautiful Siamese, though.
She
Love her.
is. Ruthie's like, "Oh, you're talking about animals?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm coming.
Eh.
No worries."
Watch your drink there in case she
Oh, crap.
does. She's good. She left.
Yeah.
Just high and by.
No immediate pets, but I'm leaving.
Yeah, no one's paying attention to me, just talking about me. But this we can lead a little bit more into the main, what would be that kind of.
You guys got to talk. I'm about to pee myself.
Oh, you're good. We'll get her thoughts first. Because it is so much that you guys navigate, you know, between the having, that's wrapped around you.
Yeah.
Between the having, 4 kids, having the full-time jobs, playing a duet group where both of you guys have your own interests and tastes and everything. Because that can be so crippling for so many people and be a lot of the reasons why they don't do it. And also you guys have like a team now behind you pretty much going.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't find that.
No.
But what would you suggest for somebody who's even just considering like trying to balance and navigate all that kind of stuff?
I would say don't try to be a perfectionist. I don't think I am a perfectionist, but I do think that I can hyperfixate on something until it's just so, for me anyways. And you just simply cannot do that while you are, you have so many balls in the air. You just can't worry about where you're throwing them, honestly. Just figure out how to catch all of them. So that would be my biggest thing. Don't try to be a perfectionist, you're only one person, so do what you can when you can do it. This usually means there's not a whole lot of like sit down time. Now I'm usually somebody who's just up and doing stuff all the time anyways. It's really hard for me to sit down and chill. Like, I should probably figure out how to clear my mind every once in a while. That would be healthy. But if I've got time, I'm pretty much always doing something. Whatever it is that's on my plate, I'll tackle as much of it as I can. But I've had to learn to stop, whenever it's time to stop. Like, no matter where I'm at with it. That's anything, really. So, that would be my biggest thing. Just, nothing can be perfect. Do what you can when you can do it. You can't be lazy. The doing what you can when you can do it is the exact opposite of being lazy. You can't just lounge around and what's the word? Be starts with a C.
Content.
Thank you. Yeah, it just escaped me completely. Just poofed right out of my brain. But yeah, you can't complacent either. There you go. That's another one. You can't be complacent. You gotta always be going. So just don't try to do everything perfectly all the time, every time, because then you'll get really overwhelmed and frustrated. And that would be my try to surround yourself with like-minded people too. They might be doing their own thing for themselves, not necessarily like a team of anybody behind you, but if you have a community of like-minded people around you that understand what's going on, that helps a lot. Like, that's your village. They aren't necessarily like doing all your shit, but they are doing the same kind of shit, and they understand you and where you're coming from and your struggles, and kind of having your village, your community around you. That also helps a lot.
I know it's a struggle for a lot of people to find something like that too, like finding people that are like-minded. But as we talked about in your episode, when you just put yourself out there, it kind of naturally starts to happen. You started posting videos, you singing, and then Blayd ended up hitting you up. And now 2 years later, you guys are performing together and doing, you guys are a full like act together. You all right?
I'm sweating my sack off in the shirt.
A little spicy. Finding just, I'm a huge proponent and a huge believer of, do what you feel in your heart you're supposed to do with yourself, and just focus on that. And as you do that, your community, your village, your partner, people that think similarly to you, that like similar things, slowly that all fills itself in. And I am really terrible at this, so this is not me patronizing anybody, and maybe I take my own advice every once in a while. That would be cool. But really work on you, like be where your happiness comes from, so that as you're growing into yourself, all of these other people can come into your life, and it's just this great addition. And I just think if you have a really, really strong foundation in yourself and clear direction on what you're wanting to do, and you just start working towards that in whatever way you can, everything else just fills in.
Like this never would have happened had I still been hammered and punching the floor till I fell asleep. You know what I mean? Like,
that would have scared me right off.
Be cool with me, and be cool with everything that I was working on before anything else.
And I'm not saying like, if you don't love yourself, oh my God. I'm trying so hard not to say yeah all the time. Now I'm hitting my mic all the time. But You know, I'm not a believer in the if you don't love yourself, how can anybody else love you? And if you're not a whole person, you know, like, why should anybody else fill you up? You know, that kind of crap. I don't believe in that. I mean, you know, people go through really hard times. There's mental illnesses, you know, like, I don't believe in any of that. But I'm just saying, you are the only one that has the power to put yourself in the direction that you want to go, period. Period. And so if you do that, however, mine was very small. I was big sad girl energy. And I just started singing to karaoke songs, like karaoke music on YouTube. I recorded it on my phone, and I had a little tiny tablet that I played the music on, so I could play the music and record at the same time without having to use Snapchat. So I'd get the whole video, because then when I started doing that, they didn't have those super long videos. It was like max a minute or whatever. So I just started doing that and posting it on Facebook. And before I did that, before I even had a tablet that I could play music on so that I could sing to, because I didn't always have that, I just sang. No music, no nothing. If I felt like singing a song, I would sing it, the whole thing. No music, nothing, no backing track. I can't play a guitar. It's not at all at that point in my life. Whatever, I would just sing it, and I would post it. I mean, who the fuck says you can't? Just do it. But eventually that led to more stuff for me whenever I started doing that again. And that's a really tiny thing. I'm talking like while my kids were eating dinner or after they went to bed, you know, and I was just at my house anyways, can't go anywhere because I'm the only adult, my kids are asleep. I would just do that. And eventually it led slowly to all of this.
Law of attraction's a real thing too.
Yeah.
Mentally you're on the right page and you start making the moves to get you there, and then other shit kind of comes together.
Yeah.
Like, look where we are now. We got a studio, we got duet acts, you got a relationship based on music. We got everything going on.
Well,
here.
It started with you shooting videos of me sitting on my floor drunk playing guitar. I mean, if you want to backtrack a little more, I mean, we just occasionally hang out and you would like, hey man, that sounds really good. Can I get a video of you playing that?
We talked about that in our episode, that the very first thing on my YouTube is you singing. Before it was before it was Flipside and the Cliffside, and then it was Never Ready Productions. You know, it was just like Christian, or not even Christian, it was just Blake. Some Blake Martin YouTube. And then the very first thing is
and
you
some
singing.
guy named Blayd Lawrence playing a cover.
All these,
who's that?
There's
Never
a few,
heard
like,
of her.
sporadically, just like but that's, you know, I've always just thought you should be doing something with it, and I've always been a big proponent of just put it out there. Just do it, you know. Stuff will start to work out when you just start putting shit out there.
Even if, hypothetically, I never made it to be a #1 artist or something like that in my life. Dude, we're already making it because I'm making money to provide for my family and my just our lives by just playing my guitar and singing, by doing the thing that comes from my heart. Which, a little off track here, but like, you know, the thing about music and creating things like that is like, okay, so a guitar is an instrument and it is ready to be played, right? Excuse me. These things that we're writing, those are things that are inside of us. That's something that is in here, and we have to somehow let everybody else see it. And we get to do that together. You know what I mean? Like, how could we not be one of the happiest couples you've ever fucking met in your life, for Christ's sakes? Like, as far as like togetherness goes, because dude, we're taking these feelings that we have all the way down deep in our souls and our hearts, and we're just making it together and giving it to people just to enjoy. You know,
No, it's a beautiful thing, putting yourself out there like that and being able to express yourself and having people to engage with it. You know, having
oh
people,
my God.
Man, yeah. When you get somebody sharing your stuff and they're like, man, this is how I feel, and you're like, yeah, great, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I also love the fact about music that it's open to interpretation, to the point of like, I could write the saddest breakup song, but to somebody else it might be the best love song they've ever heard, and I'm like, that's just interesting how people take it on, you know.
If nothing else, I hope that our story at least gives people something to look forward to. You know, I was that guy that did not believe in love, Didn't believe in, respectfully, I didn't have faith in women. Life changes that.
And then Blake came along and just completely turned him around.
I had to make him have faith in men first.
Yeah, I don't know are you guys, just in case you guys are confused, this is the couple that goes around and performs together.
Yeah. No, it's been a lot.
Me and Ashlyn / Taylor, always, well, we haven't in a long time, but it is a running joke that we're just side pieces, and Blake and Blayd are actually the married couple, so.
Oh, Blayd, let me ask you the same thing I asked her while you were off, taking a piss. Draining the lizard.
I was rocking a piss.
So, being that you guys have so much to navigate, you got the kids, you got the jobs, you got the travel and all the weekends, you got everything, trying to stay in the studio, trying to write, trying to practice, trying to do all that. Which that being the crippling factor for most people that'll never want to do it. What would you say to the people that, what would be your advice in general for someone trying to, or even just thinking about navigating doing all that, because it's a lot.
Don't let it overwhelm you. Categorize. Think about what's in front of you. You know what I mean? You can't let everything smack you in the face all at once. That will cripple you every single time, and I fall guilty of it all the time. I can be a big old ball. I can be a big old ball of pissed off anger. I'm good at it. I'm really good at it. But having my support helps a lot. You know what I mean? Talking that shit out. Having somebody that's gonna call me out. Hey, dude, you're being a fucking dick. You're right. I've let myself get overwhelmed. I'm thinking about all of the variables and not just slowing down. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. When you're out driving at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning out from a show that's 6 hours, 4 hours away, focus on that. You know what I mean? Yes, right now sucks. Were you not just having the best time of your life 2 hours ago? Were you not just doing everything that you absolutely love 2 hours ago? Was it not fucking worth it, you silly bastard? You know what I mean? Just...
It's taking the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You can't
absolutely.
have just the good.
Yeah, no, because, and when it is bad, think of the good. You know what I mean? Because without, you would never know how amazing and beautiful the good things are without those bad things that shit all over you. If it was great all the time, it'd be bland. Mm. Life would be tasteless. Tasteless. But yeah, no, it's just that. Don't let it get over. Take a deep breath and calm the hell down. You know what I mean? If you want to do the damn thing, it's always going to be worth it, because, you're following your dreams and you're doing what you love. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, you want to let the people know where they can find you and all of your...
Yeah, Blayd Law. You can Google my name. Shit. But no, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, literally find me all over wherever you stream. Some places that I don't even fucking know about. We're there too.
All right. Tara?
Samesies. We release all music that we've created on every streaming service, unless there is a brand new one. Then I don't know about that one. But we release everywhere, and often we're playing shows on the weekends. So you can always check our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok for those, courtesy of Ashlyn / Taylor. She handles all of that for us. And then, is it funny, Ashlyn / Taylor? I don't know. I call her Ashlyn. But, yeah, so all over social media and YouTube and all that good stuff. I have an OnlyFans, but you're not going to be seeing any, lewd.
It's not these two on there. It's just...
No, that's private.
Not yet.
Yeah. As you can tell, no lewd acts, no full nudity, none of that kind of stuff.
If you pay attention, though, you might occasionally see us duet.
Duet. Let's duet in
No.
ways that make us feel good.
So yeah, basically everywhere we're trying to get our stuff out there. So my name's Tara Nickole, Nickole. That trips people up sometimes. It's both of them, a C and a K. And you can find me everywhere if you have that. There's not many that are spelled that way, so
And Blayd is spelled with a Y. And why? I don't know.
none of us do.
Just trying to be extra.
I don't know. I just think it's like so when his mom got mad, it could follow more of the Blayd.
Yeah,
Blayd.
she does have that. Oh.
Blayd Dakota.
I'm just not sure if they even knew how to spell.
Or
know.
that.
They were really strung out, I gotta say.
That would be really, yeah. No, that's probably a good point. They were like, yeah, there's Y in there somewhere. An E on the end?
Ew.
What, like a knife? Hell no. That's, no.
Doesn't even make any sense.
No. And with the D.
But I have with me today Blayd Law, Tara Nickole, and as always, I'm Christian Blake. And I hope that we are able to help you feel a little less like you're never ready and just a little bit more ready to take on your goals and make life yours.
Amen.
Well, have a good day, everybody.
Don't know what to do with my hands.
Mm,
We out.
Cut.